بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, in this video, I will be outlining and explaining my personal advices to the student of Hifdh, of the memorization of the Holy Quran. And in particular, my advice is going to be aimed at those over the age of 16. For under the age of 16, I'll look to do another video, but that would be aimed towards the parents. Because I feel personally, through my experiences and from what I see, that those under 16, their progress is directly influenced and affected by the parents. So I'll make a separate video for that. So this advice is for those above the age of 16, and many people have asked me to give my advice from my experiences, alhamdulillah, my experiences of both studying, memorizing at a young age, winning international Quran competitions worldwide, alhamdulillah, and then also teaching multiple age ranges as well. So obviously this is my advice. Each teacher will have their own piece of advice, and just take what you can benefit and leave what is not maybe relevant to you. Now, the thing is, when it comes to advice, a lot of people like listening to advice and, listening to this video, listening to this motivational lecture, this speech, read that book, but just make a pure intention from now that you'll try to act upon the advice and actually do. A lot of people talk, but they don't actually do. So it's about doing. And I know over the age of 16, it's quite easy to be, distracted with loads of other plans and loads of other things going on, and social media and friends, and you want to do this and you want to look good if you're at college, for example. But just remember that memorizing the Quran is one of the greatest achievements that one will achieve in this life, and of course it'll benefit for the hereafter in numerous ways. So my pre-advice, you could say, is that practice upon what you hear and actually do. Don't just sit there, listen to loads of lectures and motivational speeches and not then actually go ahead and do anything, So I think that's very important to just make clear. A lot of people, they'll start things. So for example, they'll start Hifdh, they'll be hyped up, you could say, for about a couple of days. They'll listen to a lecture, and then everything will go down the drain. And then they'll start a new project. They'll have their mind on something else. Try to focus and stick to one thing. And once you stick at it, then it just gets a lot easier. And that's when you can see the compound benefits and effects. And the other pre-advice would be a niyyah, the intention. Is extremely important, the intention, that it should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just keep reminding yourself that you are memorizing the greatest thing on earth, the greatest book on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He's even given you the ability to even make the intention, then that's a great achievement in and of itself. Like, you have Hifdh, becoming Hafidh is a massive blessing and achievement, and it only comes through the ability that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. Why? Because you'll have people with photographic memory or with extremely high intellectual skills, but they won't have the ability to actually become Hafidh. Okay, and then on the other hand, on the flip side, you have students who are, you could say, weaker academically, okay, but they'll become Hafidh in 2 to 3 years. Okay, so it's a massive blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to remember that, and we don't want to be kept away from this blessing. So if you're watching this video, of course you've got intentions to become Hafidh. So it's excellent, and I just want to say that keep going and fight through till the end, and it will be the greatest thing you achieve on this planet. I'm telling you. You might become a millionaire, a billionaire, but honestly speaking, becoming Hafidh is one of the greatest achievements any individual can achieve on this earth. And just to give a side example, whilst we're at it, you can compare this example which I've given you, which is you have the intellectual individual, the very clever individual with a great memory, but doesn't have the ability to become hafid. The same goes with, for example, you have, Allah has blessed people with extreme wealth, they have a lot of money, but they haven't been given the ability to perform Umrah or Hajj. So you don't want to be in that category, you know. So an-niyyah is very important, and we do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there's also secondary intentions, which is the blessings of this life, the what do you call it, saving 10 people from the hellfire in the hereafter, for example. And the reason why I say an-niyyah is important is because I think after the age of 16, and as I say, you're watching this video for a reason, you know. So after the age of 16, it should be like you're doing it for yourself, as in you want to do it. It shouldn't be that your parents are still forcing you at this age. If you're doing it for the sake of your parents, to keep your parents happy, it's still good. Obviously, at some point, hopefully you'll change your intention and you'll still get rewarded, inshallah. But I just think that it should be coming from yourself, because that's a key influence in whether you are successful or not. You know, when it comes from yourself and you want to achieve something, the body and the mind will allow you to, you know, naturally or automatically push towards your goals. Okay, if you're being forced, then your body and mind will push you away, or there'll be a lot of resistance and friction. You know, so I think these things are important to make clear from the start. Now, my first piece of advice, and this one is extremely important, and as I say, this video is directed at those over the age of 16 plus, so you can be any age, you can be 16, 17, 20, you might make the beautiful intention to start your hifdh at the age of 25 or 30, 40, okay, it's never too late. But I think the main thing that we need to remember, the key piece of advice, is to stay away from sins as much as possible. I'll just repeat one more time. Stay away from sins as much as possible. Now, there's a few angles to this, because first of all, كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمَ خَطَّاؤُونَ, but all of the children of Adam are constant sinners. Okay, so we have to just keep that clear. We will commit sins. Nobody is perfect, infallible. But the best of sinners are those who repent. Okay, and that's why I say that that we need to stay away from sins as much as possible. Keywords, as much as possible. Okay, we need to make an active effort, because it's simple. The Quran in your heart does not go with the black dots that are accumulating when you commit sins. Okay, so keep that one in mind. In terms of keeping away from sins as much as possible, you know, like for example, certain sins are greater than others, and certain sins will affect your mind and your focus and your concentration a lot more than others, okay, in a negative manner. And wallahi, to achieve the greatest achievement, one of the greatest achievements on earth, which is memorizing, if you think about it, it's a massive miracle. If you think about it, you're memorizing, like in the Asian Mus'haf, 848 pages of 13 lines. Okay, if you think about it, it's a massive miracle, and it's a great achievement. And in order to go on the journey, your mind has to constantly be focused. It has to be clear, no brain fog. And a lot of sins that one may commit over the age of 16 are directly affect that or impact that in a negative manner. So it's the opposite effect. Okay, so for example, getting yourself involved in a haram relationship. So if you're a guy, then you're constantly thinking about the girl. If you're a girl, you're constantly thinking about the guy. He said this, she said that, how shall I reply? You know, like obviously, like I've grown up myself, you know, and it's important to remember that these things take away from your mind space and from your peace and from your relaxation, and wallahi, it's a waste of time. Okay, so any haram relationship, that's one thing. The other thing that affects the youth a lot these days, which definitely has a negative impact, of course, on the memory, so on your brain, on your memory, on your focus, on your attention, on your concentration. These are all things essential to become hafidh, is pornography. Okay, so haram relationship, pornography. The next one is smoking, drugs, alcohol. Okay, so obviously it depends on where you are in life, but I don't put nothing past anyone these days, and everything is easily accessible. So music is another massive, and I think if I'm not mistaken, there's a hadith directly linking the Quran and music, saying the two don't go into the same heart. Okay, so music, it'll constantly be playing after in your mind. There's a scientific explanation behind the beats. It makes you feel a certain way. So stay away from sins as far as possible. And you have to make an active effort, because I know, like, this day and age, this environment, this online age, social media, just the world is a bit crazy at the moment. I know it's not easy. You know, it's extremely difficult to stay focused. And that's what they say about the greater jihad, is fighting yourself, fighting the nafs, waking up each morning and having a clear and set mindset and goal. Okay, if you start like being half off, like, I might do this, I might do that, then shaitan overtakes you. Okay, your mind overtakes you. Your addictions potentially overtake you. And there's scientific reasons behind that as well. So you need to be focused, and you need to make an active effort. Like, you need to wake up each morning and say, I'm going to stay away from sins today as much as possible. Okay, and if you do fall into sin, it's not the end of the world, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Tawwab. He constantly forgives. And if you didn't commit sin, then Allah would substitute or replace you with someone that did commit sin and then turn back to Him. So look at the beauty and the amazing characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He wants you to do well. You know, don't think like this world is against you and the rest of it. Our minds, our bodies have been created by the best of creators to do well, to perform well. And achieving the status of Hafidh al-Quran, wallahi, is one of the greatest achievements one will achieve in life, if not the greatest, I swear, like, honestly speaking. And I'm really happy that you've come and watched this video, and if you're watching till this far, then that means you're serious about this. So keep going, and make sure you get it done. Okay, that's the promise you need to make to yourself. Get it done, and it's never too late. Okay, the second thing that I want to speak about is having a good routine. Okay, so the second piece of advice relates to having a good routine, and then it comes back to consistency. Okay, so without a good routine, it's difficult to be consistent. It's difficult to achieve. Okay, I see this in my own life. I'm currently memorizing al-Tuhfat al-Samannudiyya. Hopefully you get to that stage at some point as well. And al-Shatibiyya, which is the poem on Qira'at, the famous poem. And if I don't have a routine, if I don't set myself a routine and perform or memorize after Salatul Fajr every morning, then put it this way, nothing is going to be memorized that day, because other things come up. I'm too busy. Afternoon, you're tired, your mind is tired. Evening, your mind is tired, you know, and then there's other work to do, other responsibilities. So I would say have a good routine. Set times during the day and don't overdo it. So my advice would be the best time to memorize. So when you're putting it into one of your routines, the best time to memorize will be early morning. Okay, after Salatul Fajr, by far, 100% sure. I don't know if I can prove it scientifically, but you might want to look into that, because I think there must be a lot of strong evidences that the best time to memorize and the time your mind is most fresh, of course, is in the morning after you wake up. So after Salatul Fajr, you freshen yourself up, perhaps sometimes maybe before breakfast, because having a clear mind without eating and just drinking is very good for focus and sharp memory. When you start eating, you already start feeling a bit, slow and sluggish, and your mind slows down. So keep that one in mind. Have a good routine and be consistent with it. Okay, consistency is extremely important. If you do one thing one day and then you miss like 2-3 days, wallahi, it's still good. We're not going to say it's not good. Okay, how can we say it's not good? But you'll find yourself demotivated. You won't see the compound effect happening quickly. It's about speed. You need to get things done over a short period of time, and the way you do that is be consistent. Okay, and I must say, don't overdo it as well. When we say be consistent, we mean set a fixed time daily, ideally in the morning, to memorize, and then be consistent with it, and don't overdo it. So don't like say on the first day, I'm going to start memorizing 3-4 pages a day, when you know it's not possible. You analyze your day, you set a plan, and that brings me on to my third piece of advice, which is set a plan, a smart plan. You might have studied this in school. A smart plan, specific, measurable, and I don't know the rest, but what I'm trying to say for my smart basically is that you need to, you have to be smart about it. You can't each individual is different. A 16-year-old's routine will be completely different to a 20-year-old, which will be completely different to a 30-year-old, which will definitely be completely different to a 50-year-old's routine, okay? And I say 50 years old because, inshallah, potentially someone in the 40s, 50s is watching this video and they have the intention, and that would be absolutely amazing. So each individual will know what their responsibilities are in life. Some of you may have kids, some of you may not. Some of you may be studying, some of you may be at work. Okay, so each and every one of you know what your day looks like, and that's why you have to plan in advance and stick to it religiously. So that comes back to the advice number 2, which is be consistent. Okay, but you have to set a plan. You can't just go in like every day doing something different. It doesn't work like that, wallahi. As I say, I'm memorizing right now. I know how it is. Okay, if I wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to do this, and then, okay, I might get it done, but then the next morning I say, I'm going to do this, and that, and everything's all over the place. From my experience, it doesn't really work. You have to have a plan, like a weekly plan. Like, I'm going to memorize by the end of this week, I would have memorized, I don't know, half a juz. So I'm trying to push you, but it doesn't have to be half a juz. It can be quarter juz, it can be a juz, it can be a few pages, okay? But you all know exactly what you need to do and how to achieve it. And you have to plan. Okay, you have to have a long-term plan, a medium-term plan, and then a weekly plan. Okay, so you say long-term, inshallah, in 3 years' time, I want to be done. Okay, now how do we achieve this? We don't just say, okay, 3 years, and we just start. You say, okay, by end of year 1, I want to have finished 8 juz. Okay, I know there's 30 juz, 3 years, 10 juz at a time. It doesn't work like that because sometimes at the start it's a bit more difficult. So you'd say like 7 juz, and then 7 juz, and then 10 juz, so that's 17, and then 13 juz in the final year, something like that. And you might already have memorized a few bits. Okay, you might have memorized, and you need to. It's gone, like, I know people, they've memorized 10 juz, but it's like completely weak, so it goes back to sabak again. They have to memorize from fresh, but there's still a difference, right? It's like it might still be a bit easier. Things will come back to the mind. Okay, so that's advice number 3. You have, so just to reiterate, we started with actually doing and getting things done in life. Okay, that advice is generally in life. Wallahi, people talk, but they don't do. Okay, and as I say, if you want to achieve the greatest achievement in life, you need to actually do. There's sacrifices that need to be made. You might need to wake up when you want to sleep. You might need to not go football one of the days, and read and memorize because you're behind. You might want to go out with your friends here, there, to a restaurant, eat nice food, which is, I'm not saying this, don't do all that. You have to do that, and that's why I said don't overdo it. You have to be moderate and balanced in your approach, and that's why you have to set a plan. But sometimes you'll have to sacrifice, And of course there's the niyyah, and niyyah is very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us. Nas'alullah al-qubul wal-ikhlas. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for acceptance and sincerity. So we've been through 3 pieces of advice, which is stay away from sins as far as possible, have a good routine which affects consistency, and then set a plan or set a smart plan and stick to it religiously. My fourth and 5th pieces of advice is this is not advice, this is probably just motivation, is that we need to remember that this life is very short. We know how quick time goes, okay? time goes extremely quick. Wallahi, like I'm recording this in December 2022. It's already done. Okay, I've been in Medina for over a year now, nearly 1.5 years, and it's crazy. And soon it'll get to a time where, like when I got here, obviously it's okay, I'm going to be here for 4 years or 5 years. But soon it'll get to a time where the time I've been here is longer than the time I have left. Okay, and same with our lives. Okay, so we need to make use of our time. And I must say again, and I've said it a few times, becoming Hafidh, and if you're watching till this far, then you are extremely serious. Okay, which is amazing. Excellent to see. The intention is there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from you. You must go through with it now and achieve one of the greatest achievements in life. Okay, and through, as I say, there's sacrifices. You need to be patient a lot of time, and then there's also obviously there's methods or systems of memorizing, which I'll definitely make another video for you, which you can watch as well. But yeah, 3 pieces of advice: stay away from sins as far as possible, have a good routine, and keep consistent, and set smart plans and stick to it religiously. I hope that benefits you. I hope it all made sense. If you have any questions, then please leave a comment in the comments down below. Leave your thoughts as well. Any advice that you may have for the viewers that read the comments, then go for it. Okay, it's not like we're all trying to compete in advice. We need to actually do as I say, and inshallah we all get reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Pray for me, pray that Allah accepts from me, pray for my family and my teachers and everyone around me, and I pray for you as well. And if you're watching this far, I sincerely pray that, and whoever's watched this video, I sincerely pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts your intentions, because you have to have clicked on this video for a reason. Okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts your intentions and makes it easy for you, and reunites us in Jannatul Firdaus, all being Hafidh. We'll recite the Quran and we'll elevate our ranks, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khairan. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and inshallah I'll bring you some more videos. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.